come on, doll. You're really not interested in having a bit of fun? We're not going anywhere with you, Melonhead.
We don't want to go anywhere with you, Melonhead.
As long as Teo didn't do anything to you, then... And if he did? I'd kill him. Okay. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir du Vide, and day 4 of 14 Days with You has been released. What's odd about this day is that Ren really wanted you to go on that date with Teo. So let's see what shenanigans Ren is planning, because you know he is up to some shenanigans. Oh, I've missed you, Espoir. Are you going to record me again? In that case, hello, Internet. Make sure you subscribe to Espoir's channel for me, okay? That way, you'll be able to see me more often. And I'll be able to see you too. So don't hide from me. Why are you hiding from me? Are you scared of me? Just kidding. Have fun, Angel. Rainbow bandages, a red tunnel, blue eyes. That's all I can seem to recall from my dream as the blaring buzz of my alarm pulls me from my slumber. Almost groggily, I reach for my phone to turn it off and flop back onto my bed. Curious, I glance at the screen to check the time, only to get blinded by the brightness of my wallpaper. Wincing at the bright screen that practically flashbangs me, I crack open one eye to read the numbers on the screen. 9:05 a.m. So it wasn't too early then. I still had plenty of time to get ready for the day and possibly make some waffles for breakfast. The batter would expire soon anyway. I didn't really feel like visiting the bakery this morning. With that plan in mind, I let out a sleepy groan and roll out of bed. Muscle memory kicks in, and my immediate reaction is to open the blinds for some much-needed sunshine. But when I glance at my windows, they were already pulled back. Sunlight had been pouring into my room for who knows how long, and I didn't even notice. And when did I open them? I swear I closed the blinds last night. In fact, I was confident I did, because there was no way I'd be getting any sleep after finding out a potential stalker was creeping outside my window. Don't tell me someone broke in again. Came in and stole my socks! I try not to focus on the twang of dread slowly building up inside the pit of my stomach. I wasn't about to get worked up again, and so early in the morning, too. This was not what I needed to start my day with. Deciding not to dwell on it for now, I stand up and gradually work out the kinks in my body. No way I was going to let this ruin the outing I'd planned with Teo, Eleanor, and Leon. Oh, Leon's there too. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We were supposed to go to the aquarium today. With that in mind, I make a mental note to dress appropriately as I walk over to my closet. Absent-mindedly, I run my fingers across some of my clothes before pulling something comfy from the rack. My usual style has never let me down before, so I decide to stick with the theme and wear something similar. I pick out a few more matching pieces and accessories before giving them all a cursory glance. Feeling satisfied with the items I chose, I nod in approval before heading to the bathroom to change. I doubt the hot water would work this early in the morning, so having a nice refreshing shower was definitely out of the question. Well, not that it really mattered. I still needed to buy some more shampoo anyway, and... oh. Strange. Do I got a whole nother bottle of shampoo? Was my toothbrush holder always this solid black color? I could have sworn it was gray. Picking it up from the shelf, I gave it a once-over. The Haruko print was still there, yet it somehow felt heavier in my hands. But then again, I don't exactly go around meticulously measuring how heavy my items are in the first place. Jeez, today was seriously a day of overthinking, huh? Well, whatever. Putting the holder back on the shelf, I focus my attention back on the reflection of myself in the mirror and give an appreciative nod. The outfit I chose looked perfect, and once I put everything on, all I'd have left to decide on is how I should style my hair. What should I do? Mid-length. I don't have hair. Looking out for everybody. Mid-length. I have braided hair. An idea comes to mind, and I immediately set to work. An hour flies by, and I've somehow managed to get dressed, style my hair, and finish breakfast in record time. With nothing else left to do, I decide I might as well kill time in my entryway by picking out which shoes to wear. But just as I stop in front of the shoe rack, something near the front door catches my eye. A letter? Odd. My door doesn't have a letterbox, so I usually have to visit the front desk to collect my mail. That is, if Violet doesn't bring it up for me. So what was this doing here? Curiosity gets the better of me, and I find myself scooping up the letter and opening it. Inside was nothing more than a folded note written in red ink, and... Was that a lock of dark blonde hair? What? What the... Did this belong to Kiara? A chill runs down my spine once I realize what exactly this item is, and I hesitantly scan the rest of the note for answers. It simply read, "I think she might need a new lock as well, don't you think? And don't bother warning her about this. I'll know." Kiara? Let's keep this between us, all right? It'll be our little secret. Ren? What the heck? Was this somehow tied to that loser who broke into my apartment a few days ago? Or was it someone else entirely? Now I know the shenanigans are mainly Ren's doing, but it would be hilarious if there was someone else. Though, admittedly, whoever this stalker was, they were honestly doing a pretty bad job at making their intentions clear. I mean, what exactly were they trying to accomplish by doing this? Did they want me to stay away from Kiara as well? Or just keep silent? What did they get out of blackmailing me like this? And why target Kiara specifically? None of this made any sense. And now that I give it more thought, I still wasn't sure what they wanted from me either. Why go through all this trouble in the first place? It wasn't like I was doing anything wrong. Maybe moving back to the Bay wasn't a good idea after all. I mean, I left the hardships and turmoils of the city behind for a reason. I wanted fresh air, new faces, and a more easygoing lifestyle, things I'd never get in the city, and now it seems like history is only repeating itself once more. I thought I could live a peaceful life here with my new job and friends, and now I've somehow found myself in more trouble than I could ever ask for. And what's worse is that after denying my own paranoia for this long, this was all it took to convince me that my potential intruder really was real after all. Crap, maybe Violet was right. I remember brushing off her concerns because the idea of a stalker seemed so far-fetched to me, especially given Corland Bay's innocuous reputation. I can't remember if there were a bunch of news reports about people going missing. But now, admittedly, a big part of me wanted to see if Violet was still home, but another part kept me rooted in place. Would it be safe? What if the intruder was still lurking outside? What if the intruder is actually that adorable landlord? Ack! Suddenly, my phone goes off and scares the living daylights out of me, so much so that I end up dropping it on the hardwood floor and clamoring to pick it back up in a panic. Crap. With shaking hands, I forgo looking for any dents and cracks in the screen as I try to discern the reason for the noise instead. The letter T shows up where the caller ID should be, alongside a suggestive contact photo of someone's abs that I don't remember taking. Which could only mean one thing. Teo was calling. It takes a few failed attempts, but I somehow manage to press the answer button and respond with a shaky tone. Hello? Well, dang, doll. You sound like you just woke up. Not planning on sleeping in, are you? What? No, why? Good, 'cause I'm in your apartment right now. What? Your neighborhood looks like crap, by the way. Smells like it, too. Teo, that's so mean. You shouldn't say that about yourself. I'm just over the MC's shoulder, just sneering. I don't think I've ever sneered this hard. Did you seriously call me just to make fun of where I live? I called to tell you to hurry up, unless you want to walk to the aquarium. In fact, maybe I should just... Oh, dang it. Well, if it isn't little Miss Priss all by her lonesome. Oops, she looks mad. Teo's voice practically oozes smugness as he taunts whoever it is he's talking to, most likely Violet, before I hear him adjust the phone and continue speaking. Oh yeah, didn't they have some kind of history together? Oi, dollface. Hurry up, won't ya? Hey, that is my husband's word. Only my fictional husbands, Beelzebub and Underfell Sands, are allowed to call me that, okay? You don't get to call me that. He hangs up before I can mutter out a response. But still, knowing that Teo was downstairs somehow gave me the confidence to leave the safety of my home. Trash or stalker? Though not before committing the state of my apartment to memory and triple-checking my lock. I have a half a mind to quickly snap photos of everything to see if anything was touched in my absence, but I doubt I'd have enough time. Still, if my stalker does decide to come back again, I'd want to know. I mean, you really should occasionally take photos of all the valuable stuff in your house. That's just, I don't know, good practice for insurance or something. But now that I'm thinking about photos, this gives me the perfect opportunity to splurge on some security cameras. I'd been needing them for quite some time now anyway. With all this talk of violent crimes, dead bodies, and murders happening on the news lately, and now this intruder, I figured it'd be better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, what's about these violent crimes and dead bodies? So, deciding to let Teo suffer, even just a little bit, at the hands of Violet, I pull out my phone to scroll through some home security bundles on sale as I make my way towards the lobby. Ooh, that's a cool transition. Teo ended up being uncharacteristically quiet throughout the drive, and if I were being honest, I appreciated the silence. Yeah, I don't want to hear the sounds of a trash compactor flapping its jaws. It was definitely odd not having our typical playful banter. But it also wasn't something I needed first thing in the morning. He also doesn't seem in the mood to be disturbed, given how he clenches the wheel with one hand, while the other supports his head against the window ledge like some angsty teen. So I try to settle further into the admittedly comfy seat of his luxury car and focus my attention on the scenery as it passes by. It isn't long before the aquarium comes into view, as Teo looks around for a decent place to park. He must have picked a busy day to visit, considering the amount of cars parked both outside and in the reserved parking area, though Teo seems to have somewhere in mind. I watch as he drives straight past a very clearly labeled no-go sign and pulls up into one of the empty spaces without so much as a reaction. Just when I thought he couldn't get more scumbaggy. He doesn't even wait for me to get out before he opens the door and walks to the front of the car, and not wanting to be left behind, I quickly follow suit. Teo? Did your feelings get hurt? I was about to question whether he was allowed to park in the employee zone in the first place, but given how he shamelessly pulls down one of the warning signs and tosses it into a bush, I figured that was my answer. I am awestruck at how horrible this living trash bag is. It doesn't take long before he's right by my side once more and ushers me towards the front entrance. I almost stumble over my feet as Teo pulls me along, but not before almost bowling him over as he abruptly stops in front of me. look at that. Almost like a loyal dog, isn't he? Glancing in the direction he was pointing, I see Leon sitting on one of the benches as he absent-mindedly watches people go by. And once he catches sight of us, he immediately leaps to his feet and rushes over with a wave and a warm smile. Aww. It's a good thing he doesn't bite. What if it's not Ren? What if it's actually Leon who's doing the shenanigans? At that snarky comment, I nudged Teo with my elbow and sent him an eye roll. I doubt he takes any notice of it, though, since Leon's arrival takes up all of our attention. Ah! Heyo, you look good, sunfish. You're not so bad yourself, oarfish. Hello, I'm here too. Better stop sneering, my face is gonna get stuck like that. Eleanor hasn't arrived yet? Scoffing at our playful dismissal, Teo cracks a joint in his neck and crosses his tattooed arms. However, he doesn't seem to stray from his spot, which meant that he still had an interest in our conversation. At his almost childlike reaction, Leon shoots his friend a cheeky, lopsided smile before continuing. I'm sure she's on her way. She said something about wanting to get her steps in our group chat. Is that why she didn't want Teo picking her up? And actually, I don't know if you realized, but you guys were 15 minutes early. Really? No thanks to Teo speeding, I guess. And what about you? I'm guessing you had to walk all the way here, right? There's nothing wrong with getting a bit of exercise in the morning. I'm sure Eleanor would agree. And I just got here, actually. Really? Because it looked like you were sitting on that bench for a while. I just sat down. Long enough to stretch your legs, huh? Okay, yeah, so maybe I did arrive half an hour early. But I was excited. It's been a while since I've been to the aquarium. Even longer since you've seen Dollface over here, I bet. Hey. I told you about that word. Huh? Can you blame me? We've been separated for years. Now we've finally reunited again. It must be fate. No. Destiny. Playing along with Leon's dramatics, I lean against his side and clutch at the spot above my heart. It is written in the stars. You guys are genuinely so embarrassing. We scared him away. Hearing Teo huff once more, Leon and I both watch as he tries to distance himself by looking at the posters on the wall. No doubt feigning interest in it. It wasn't like Teo really cared much for marine life. All his world revolved around was wealth and luxury, giant tech companies, and probably starting fires. Just when I thought he couldn't get any more horrible. Yeah, definitely starting fires. Though, for a guy who spent most of his time in the shadow of his father's legacy, I had to hand it to him. Teo was seemingly more down-to-earth than other people I've met. He didn't have to spend time with us, but he did, and as much as he'd often joke about not wanting to affiliate himself with people outside his tax bracket, Teo sure seemed to like hanging out with Jay, Leon, and me. I wonder, does he ever feel lonely? Before my thoughts can delve any further, I feel a gentle nudge at my side. Looking to my left, I see Leon peering at me with a curious expression. You know, I'm really glad you came, but I'm honestly surprised you agreed to this. I don't know, my stalker really didn't want me to miss this, even when I said no. Surprised? What do you mean? Well, you know, is Ren okay with this? Ren? That guy we met at the pier the other day, he said something about being your boyfriend. Oh no. Oh no. You know what? Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is my boyfriend. Whether or not it was because I wanted to stake my claim over Ren, or because he confidently declared himself as my boyfriend a few days ago, I couldn't help but let it slip. But Leon seems to pick up on the hesitance laced within my words, given how he inquisitively tilts his head and sends me a reassuring smile. Is it still a new thing for you? I'm sure calling someone your boyfriend must take some time to get used to. Take things at your own pace. It was strange hearing this kind of advice from Leon, especially after practically lying to him. But I wasn't going to say anything. What, Ren isn't my boyfriend? We've been friends for so long, yet the topic of dating had never seemed to come up between us, much less something more extreme like settling down or getting married. At that, I recall a fond memory from my youth. A younger version of ourselves greets me as they innocently play a game of pretend on the playground. I can see Leon in all his boyish charm as he promises to marry me from atop the slide before he slides down it and runs to my side in glee. He seems all too happy to run circles around me while he shouts to the skies about protecting me from bad guys. Yet, something else was missing from the scene. Something I couldn't fully remember. What was it? As long as he's chill with this, yeah? I wouldn't want any misunderstandings to happen. Great, I had been spacing out again. Not wanting to offend Leon with my silence, I tried to make sense of his words before coming up with a sufficient response of my own. Oh, yeah, he's fine with it. Is he? Is he, though? Probably. Besides, I only agreed to this outing because Eleanor genuinely seemed like she wanted to go. And it's not like this is a date or anything, so... Hey, don't sweat it, Espoir. And no need to explain yourself either. I get what you're saying. Leon's such a good friend. I'm sure everything... Leon cuts himself off when he notices something behind me, and when I turn around to look, I see Eleanor running up to the group with a flushed expression on her face. Aww. But as she draws near, she clumsily trips on a stray piece of cobble and tumbles forward. Ah! Aww. Without thinking, I lurch forward to close the gap between us, but Teo's muscular arm beats me to it. Almost effortlessly, he reaches out to catch her, almost like those cliché romance movies, except not at all, because Teo was allergic to anything romantic. A fact that emphasized by the look of pure disdain on his face as he pulls my coworker to her feet. Listen, you better be nice to Eleanor. And the same goes for you too, Ren. You be nice to Eleanor. Eleanor seems to be blissfully enjoying every moment of it, though, seeing as she practically clutches onto his bicep while looking up with wide, sparkly eyes. Aww. In fact, I doubt she was even aware of our presence with how she stays rooted in Teo's awkward embrace. Looks like she really fell for him, huh? You're as bad as Jay with those puns. He's rubbing off on me. Come on, let's go see if she's okay. Is Eleanor okay? As it turns out, Eleanor really was okay, being cradled inside the arms of Teo. But the moment only lasts until Leon and I rejoin the group with a knowing smile on our faces. Teo aptly chooses not to say anything, and out of solidarity, or perhaps future blackmail, neither do we. And soon enough, we all found ourselves waiting in line to buy admission tickets. Eleanor happily takes photos of us while Teo scrolls through his phone, and Leon stands beside me to look at all the colorful fish in the small tanks. This is all rather exciting, don't you think? Really? It's just fish. Oi, come on, mate. Show a bit more enthusiasm, yeah? If you love him that much, wait till you find out what's at the beach. I want to apologize in advance for him. No, it's fine. I'm sure Teo has other interests that excite him. Fish just aren't particularly one of them. Wanna know what makes me excited? Leon and I both share a look before rolling our eyes. Breaking taillights and slashing tires. Okay, you gotta be doing it on purpose. You can't be this horrible on accident. Wait, slashing tires? Isn't that illegal? Probably. I'm just messing with you, princess. Loosen up a little. All too quickly, the light-hearted mood gets replaced with something serious as Leon's phone starts buzzing. Recognition flashes across my childhood friend's face as he looks at the screen, before he awkwardly scratches at the back of his neck and points towards the entrance with his thumb. Sorry guys, give me a sec. Without waiting for a response, Leon makes a beeline for the front door. After a few seconds, I see his figure emerge from outside the large windows, pacing back and forth on the sidewalk as he talks to someone on the phone. Judging by the solemn expression on his face, I can only guess that the call isn't a good one. I sure hope everything is all right. Too caught up in Leon's shift in demeanor, I barely notice how Eleanor's hand gently pushes Teo and I forward so they can speak to the clerk at the front desk. Broad, tattooed shoulders now block my view from the window, which causes me to shift my attention back to the present. But Teo doesn't seem to notice my lack of focus, or perhaps he just doesn't care, as he pulls out a black card from his wallet and leans over to me to hand it to the woman behind the counter. He could have gone without the nonchalant, smug look on his face, but I wasn't about to say anything when he, literally, was about to pay for my admission fee. But before I could, begrudgingly, thank him, Eleanor's excited voice cuts me off.
Oh, do you suppose there will be shows today as well? I saw some advertised outside.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't paying much attention to them.
I hope there'll be penguins. Perhaps Leon would enjoy them.
What about me?
You? I don't suppose you like sharks?
I can hear the clerk chime in with information on the latest hotspots and what shows were playing, but I shut it all out when I noticed Leon standing idly near the doorway, still sporting that concerned look on his face. Without missing a beat, I make my way over to his side and spare him an empathetic glance. I'm real sorry about all that, Espoir, but something's come up involving my mum at the hospital.
Oh no. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, Mum's fine. It's just some important paperwork I need to fill out on her behalf, since Dad is still working abroad and all. I'm so sorry, but I really gotta go. I'll try to come back as soon as I'm...
Hey, don't sweat it, Leon. Focus on your mother first.
I don't miss the way his entire demeanor softens at my concern. Leon looks as though he wants to say something serious, but holds himself back at the very last second. As if to compensate, I end up filling the silence instead. I'm sure I can survive third-wheeling Teo and Eleanor's date alone. Jeez, I really owe you one. Actually, you know what? Here. Before I can refuse, Leon shoves a stack of small bills into my palm and closes his hands around it.
Hey, you don't have to. Besides, Teo already paid for everything just now.
Nah, I won't be hearing anything from you. If you won't accept it, then spend it all on something for me instead, yeah? Go to town in the souvenir shop. See if they have any sunfish merch in there.
Aw, all right. Thank you, Leon.
No worries, doll. But I really gotta go now, though. I'll tell Mum you said hi. Leon turns on his heel before I have the chance to respond, so he completely misses me waving him off. In his rush, he almost knocks someone over, but he quickly helps them regain their footing and apologizes before speeding off once more. Man, I sure hope everything is okay with his mother. And that Wren had nothing to do with it. But before I can dwell on it any longer, the sweet melody of Eleanor's laughter pulls me from my thoughts, and I turn back towards the group. I notice that Teo and Eleanor are now standing by the entrance, which also happened to double as a massive underwater tunnel, all while pointing to a school of fish swimming over their heads. Cool. When Eleanor notices my presence, she happily waves me over before her attention shifts towards the door behind me, no doubt expecting to see Leon walk back in and join us. It made sense considering how they missed his departure, but she snaps out of her curious daze the moment Teo brushes a hand against her back to move her out of the way of a family passing by. I mean, if he wasn't such a trash bag, I would say they were cute. Look, they're a cute couple. Look at them. Look at them. It's almost like Sukuna and Cinderella, which I think is a very cute ship. But what truly shocks me is that he doesn't seem to move his hand. Instead, Teo leaves it there as he steps closer and blocks my coworker from my view. He meets my gaze with an intense, unreadable expression, and I can't help but look away. What was that all about? Suddenly, the moment felt too personal for my liking, almost as if I shouldn't be looking at something so intimate. Turning away, I decide to channel my interest into picking out a road map from the brochure stand instead. If Teo and Eleanor were planning on getting cozy with each other, I needed to plan my escape route. But before I move away, I notice a lone aquarium tank off to the side. Ooh. It was far enough from the eyes of the people still waiting in the queue, but still close enough to the entrance to entice any passers-by to come in and take a look. Inside were countless amounts of colorful fish, coral, and other sea crustaceans, and I couldn't help but look in awe at some of the bright marine life as they float about in the water. If only Leon could join us. I could almost hear his laughter at some of the sunfish-like creatures that swim by. Keeping the rest of the group in sight, I stray slightly to the right for a better vantage point. A group of neon tetra fish zip past, and my eyes follow them as they swim around. Ooh. They easily stand out against the bright orange and green corals, and especially the pink and blue. Wait, pink and blue? Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. I like that. I like everything that's happening right now. Ren, why is your hand all bruised up? Peering closer to the glass, I catch sight of a familiar face on the other side of the tank. Ren doesn't seem to notice me yet, seemingly far too entranced by the brightly colored creatures as they swim by. His soft eyes follow some of the smaller fish as they dart across the tank before swapping over to the group of guppies swimming past. Suddenly, our eyes meet the moment the fish split up, and I watch as Ren's expression morphs from surprise into a sickeningly sweet look. He tries to say something, but his words come out inaudible due to the glass separating us. As if realizing, Ren instead points to one of the fish off to the side before resting his hand on the glass and mouthing something else. I still can't fully understand what he's trying to say. That is, until my eyes land on what he's pointing at. Catching me off guard, I watch in awe as a lone fish swims between us and captures both of our attention. Was that an angelfish? Aww. The fond memory from our time at the pier comes to mind, and I find myself thinking back to when Ren affectionately gave me that nickname. And had I known any better, I would have assumed that he was thinking about the same thing, given the way his eyes crinkle and soften as the fish's scales shimmer underneath the artificial light. Too absorbed in how picturesque this all looked, I completely miss Ren's swift departure. That is, until he's rounding the corner of the fish tank and taking his place by my side. Aww. Hi, Espoir. Oh, hey you. Fancy meeting you here. The first thing I notice is how Ren is tugging at his sleeves again, though he doesn't seem to shy away from my close proximity, nor seem to mind it as much. Those fish are pretty neat, huh? Yeah, I couldn't take my eyes off of them. Hey, did you spot the angelfish swimming by? Of course I did. Yes, I did. It was very pretty. It was, huh? I couldn't stop looking as well. Yeah, I didn't even know they could be that color. Actually, this might sound cheesy, but after you mentioned the angelfish, it reminded me of our date at the pier, remember? How could I forget? It's one of my most treasured memories. Top 3, in fact. Not wanting to let this opportunity pass, I decide to tease Ren a bit. Oh, please. Top 3? Don't laugh. If you get to be cheesy, why can't I? Well, in that case, if you get to give me a cheesy nickname like Angelfish, why can't I? Wait, You want to give me a nickname?
Come on, it's only fair. Though, to be honest, I don't really know any pink-colored fish. Dang it.
Oh, yeah, that's too bad.
Hey, don't think you can get away that easily, Buttercup. I'll think of something better. Eventually.
Eventually?
Eventually.
At that, Ren lets out a puff of laughter before returning his attention to the tank once more. He doesn't seem to stray from my side, though, and it's then that I realize, what was he doing at the aquarium at the first place? Without missing a beat, I take a step closer and voice my thoughts.
You know, I wasn't expecting to run into you here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no offense, but you don't really seem like an aquarium guy.
Is that so? I didn't have any plans for today, so I figured I'd do a bit of under-the-sea sightseeing to pass the time.
Didn't he say he was into flowers, like in the first episode?
Plus, I finished the book you recommended the other week, the one about the underwater city. I guess it inspired me to come here.
Really? Did you like it? What did you think about it?
I enjoyed it, especially the part where... Oh, say, look at that.
Ren isn't shy about how he leans over my shoulder to point at something outside my peripheral vision. I follow his finger, and between the driftwood and coral, I spot Eleanor and Teo standing awfully close together. Aww. I don't miss the way Teo sizes up Ren, even from a distance, before he tears his gaze away from us in an inaudible scoff. A surprised sound escapes the back of my throat as I watch Teo unabashedly run a hand down my coworker's side. But what truly shocks me is the way Eleanor boldly grabs his arm and loops her hand around it. Eleanor is not playing around. No way.
That's...
Wow, I honestly didn't know she had it in her. And while her confidence shocked me, it also sparked a bout of curiosity inside of me as well. Even though we all established that this wasn't an actual date, Eleanor still wanted to treat it like one. But now that I really think about it, isn't this similar to the date I shared with Ren at the pier as well? The next thing I know, I find my mind wandering to all the times I held Ren's hand as we walked along the boardwalk, and right now, it looked all too tempting with how it was casually resting against the glass. I could easily fit the palm of my hand in his, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind in the slightest if I were to reach out right now and... No, come on, Espa, what are you thinking? I'm thinking we're gonna do some illegal hand-holding. Although... Come to think of it, wasn't I the one who initiated most of the hand-holding during the moments we spent together? Maybe he'd be okay with it after all. Should I? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Hold Ren's hand. Before I can talk myself out of it, I reach out and slip my fingers between Ren's palm and the glass of the tank. His skin feels uncharacteristically coarse and rough against my own. But before I can question it, I brush against something cold and metallic instead. Daring a curious peek, I look down and notice a golden ring on one of his fingers. In fact, it appeared to look vaguely similar to one around his neck. Aww, but as soon as I open my mouth to ask, Ren casually slips his fingers between my own to entwine them. Are you gonna give me that other ring? He gives me a soft smile, almost as if he knew this was going to happen, before Eleanor's voice pulls me back to the present. Espoir, there you are. Why didn't you say anything earlier, Teo?
Where'd Pretty Boy run off to? Princess over here said he had to leave earlier. And dang, if it isn't Buttercup. It's Ren, actually.
Ugh, not this again. Before the two can have the chance to butt heads, I carefully step in and interrupt. Something came up at the hospital, so Leon had to go. Oh dear, I hope everything is okay. He assured me that everything's fine, so I wouldn't stress too much about it.
I watch as Eleanor shuffles on her feet in contemplation before noticing the item still grasped carefully in her hands.
That's a relief, but oh! What do you suppose we should do with this ticket then? Shall I ask for a refund?
It's fine. That's like loose change to me. I'll make it back in 45 seconds.
Still, we shouldn't let it go to waste. Oh, I know!
Eleanor's expression shifts from revelation to something more cheeky as she turns to me with a small, knowing grin. She leans close enough to whisper, but doesn't seem all that quiet about it.
Here, why don't you give the ticket to your lover boy?
Lover boy? You gotta be joking.
Should I tell you all about how our lovely Espoir is a secret admirer, and how he often rents out her books from the Eleanor!
I feel like I'm missing some context here. Almost hastily, I snatch the ticket from Eleanor's hands and usher Ren inside the tunnel, away from my gossipy co-worker and Teo's smug grin. I hardly notice the time passing with all the fun I'm having, and before I know it, almost 2 hours go by in a blur. I'd initially been so fixated on being a third wheel that I completely forgot about the exciting things people could do at the aquarium. Eleanor seemed all too happy to snap pictures of everything, ranging from Ren and I petting some stingrays, Teo getting splashed by a seal, and all the giant sea creatures that swam around in the overhead tanks. By the time I noticed my feet starting to hurt, we had all made it to the small food court conveniently placed at the end of the main attractions. Eleanor used this as an opportunity to use the restroom, while Teo wandered off to who knows where, so Ren and I were left to look for a place for us all to sit down and rest. But we didn't get far before the light sounds of footsteps drew closer once more.
Espoir! Ren! There you are! Sorry for the wait. I ran into Teo earlier while he was talking to one of the tour guides.
He's a friend, and I wanted to talk to him. You didn't need to wait for me.
Oh, but you said you were lost and needed help with something urgent.
Oh, come on, princess. No need to act coy. Surely people say the same thing to you at the library, right?
Well, yes, I suppose they do, but I don't see what that has to do with me waiting for you. Or acting coy, for that matter.
You're adorable when you're clueless.
Anyway, are either of you hungry yet? It's past noon, and I'm worried Teo won't put his pride aside and admit that he's hungry.
Excuse me? See, they're an adorable couple already.
Oh, am I wrong? I could have sworn I heard your stomach growling earlier. Now who's acting coy?
First of all, when did they reunite without me noticing? And secondly, was Teo embarrassed? Are you being humbled? There was no way I was going to let this opportunity pass.
Oh, is the big baby hungry? Didn't eat breakfast this morning, did you?
I did. Unlike you, I can afford to eat whenever I want. Though it came out blunt and harsh, I knew Teo was only joking.
Then why don't I go and get us all something to eat? Any preferences? Allergies I should be made aware of?
Oh, why do you care, princess? You plotting to kill me or something?
It's only natural to worry about the health of others. I wouldn't want to give you something you're allergic to. Besides, everyone deserves to be cared for.
You're weird.
What was that?
I said wasabi. I'm allergic to wasabi.
Allergic to it? Or that you can't handle it?
Wasabi, huh? Ren, don't. Or do.
I see. What about you lot? Any preferences?
Do you think they have any cakes? I've been having a really bad craving for it recently.
Then in that case, I'll have a...
Before I can voice any preferences, Teo cuts me off by pulling out his wallet and handing it to my co-worker. Eleanor takes it from him without complaint, but pairs it with a curious look and a slight tilt of her head. Get whatever. I need to have a word with Dollface over here.
I don't get the chance to fully respond before Teo directs me towards the opening of the food court, but I barely get 3 steps away before I feel a gentle tug at my sleeve. Curious, I glance back, only to find Ren sporting a pout on his soft features.
Relax, Buttercup. You'll get her back in one piece.
Now that I think about it, it was kind of out of the blue for Teo to be acting like this. I mean, since when did he ever want to talk about something serious? With that revelation in mind, I offer Ren a reassuring look and give his arm a comforting squeeze. I'm sure it'll only be a few minutes.
Oh.
His eyes flicker between me and Teo a few times before it lands on my hand, still resting on his arm, and he lets out an inaudible sigh.
Okay. I'll wait for you here. No, stay where Princess can see you, unless you want her to freak out and think we ditched.
Her name is Eleanor, you know.
Wow, amazing. Whatever, come on, let's go.
Without another word, Teo nudges me in the right direction, leaving Ren all alone and confused.
Listen, you.
Following closely behind, Teo leads me to a quiet corner near the food court before turning around and boxing me in with his large arms. He casually leans his weight to one side before finally speaking.
Hey, so I've got this fun idea.
Seriously? I thought you wanted to talk about something urgent.
Dang. Could you be a little less loud about it? And as a matter of fact, yes, I do.
No, you always say, I've got an idea, and it turns out to be something illegal, like trespassing or vandalism.
Isn't that the whole point of an idea?
He was not serious. We are not about to discuss the logistics behind...
Look, it's serious. I need you to help me make Ellie, or whatever, jealous. She's getting a bit too clingy for my taste, and it might even get Buttercup to ease up on all that juvenile puppy love crap. You seriously don't think he's being too clingy? He's practically glued himself to your side the entire day.
What? Don't you think that's kind of a roundabout idea? How would this even benefit?
Trust me, this is for my own benefit, not yours. Little Miss Princess over there is treating me like I'm a dang child who needs to be supervised all the time, and I can't even tell if she's interested in me or not. Plus, you're not exactly No, never mind. Either my idea works out and this gathering gets more interesting, or she realizes I'm not the type to be babied and backs off.
You know, I kind of like things the way they're going right now. If I have a choice, I do not want to help you. While I had to jump through hoops and hurdles to understand it, Teo did have a point, but everything about his idea still felt wrong. Regardless if I agree or not, if Eleanor saw us flirting, wouldn't she just assume that you're not interested in her at all? Besides, I'd never betray her like that.
Who said anything about flirting? Crap, you really are into me, aren't you? Can't say I'm flattered, doll.
I can't sneer any harder. Excuse me?
All I was gonna do was ignore her for a bit, make him think you're more entertaining or something. I mean, it almost worked with that tour guide from earlier. But if you want to cling to my arm too, by all means, beautiful, go ahead.
You're so insufferable.
So is that a yes or a no?
I still don't know what you want me to do exactly. Teo's gaze shifts to something behind me before a light ignites in his eyes as he sends me a sly smirk.
Just follow my lead.
I barely have any time to process his words before Teo places a hand on the small of my back and pulls me closer to his side. His voice is louder than usual, and it's then when I notice Eleanor and Ren slowly coming into view.
See that storeroom over there? Looks like it's unlocked. Want to go check it out?
What are you...
Come on, doll. You're really not interested in having a bit of fun? Loosen up a little.
We're not going anywhere with you, Melonhead.
We don't want to go anywhere with you, Melonhead.
All of a sudden, I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket, but just as I move to pull it out, Teo gives me a pointed look, and I find myself stalling. How do I respond? Is there a mush his face with the palm of my hand, with the entire palm of my hand Option: follow Teo into the storeroom, refuse and stay where you are, wait for Eleanor to return, wait for Ren to notice you. Ren? Ren, help! Ren, help! The moment Ren notices my alarmed expression, he immediately starts to make a beeline towards Teo and I. I said he's my boyfriend. But just as he gets cut off by a large family passing by, Teo's body covers him from my view. Looks like we gotta hurry this up. Without warning, Teo gently tugs me along by the sleeve of my jacket and shuts the door behind us with an audible click. Now come on, me. Why didn't we do an alligator roll? Just no! Alligator roll onto the ground. I said we're not going anywhere with your melon head. Darkness envelops the both of us as I strain to make out the sound of Teo shuffling in order to pinpoint where he is. I seriously can't believe he roped me into doing this. This is my side. Don't cross that line. What line? The line I just drew with my fingers. Teo, I can barely see anything in here. Well, almost. Even in my corner of the dark room, I can still make out the faint shape of boxes on the shelves, alongside a dirty mop and cleaning supplies that Teo made sure to put me near. Crap, I hope I wasn't standing in anything. But just as I pulled out my phone to use the flashlight and check, bright overhead lights flood the confined space as Ren and Eleanor's concerned faces appear from behind the door. Well, that was quick. Aww. Ren wastes no time in shoving past Teo to reach me, only to take his place by my side and pull me to his chest. Because of this, I could hardly see Eleanor's or Teo's reaction. Couldn't you talk to her outside? I can practically hear the venom dripping from Ren's tone as he harshly glances at Teo from over his shoulder. Who goes into storerooms just to talk anyway? Talk about clingy. Well, whatever. I got what I wanted. I follow Teo's gaze as he takes in Eleanor's flushed expression before he throws an arm over her shoulder, takes the bag of food from her grasp, and guides her out of the closet. Please tell me there's a punch Teo in his nose option somewhere. I can hear him mumble something about how adorable she looks with a pouting expression as the door shuts behind them. Oh wait, so did they go in? Alright. Nothing but silence is left in their wake, and it's then I realize that Ren is still in the closet with me, peering down with an unreadable expression. Did he hurt you? Do anything strange? He touched me with a mop. He put me near a mop bucket. No, Teo was just odd. I couldn't help but feel the need to explain myself. He just wanted a way to make Eleanor jealous, so he suggested going into this closet with him. I swear, nothing happened. Do you like him? Ren, with you breaking the fourth wall sometimes, do you not hear how many times I call him trash? Literal garbage. What? Do you like Teo? Why else would you agree to... Hey, I didn't agree to anything. The only thing I didn't do was alligator roll out of his grasp. Clarifying who he was talking about still didn't lessen the confusion bubbling in my brain, and I can hear Ren's grasp tighten around the shelf behind me as he tries to find the words to say. His breath comes out staggered now, and his gaze isn't any less intense. No, Actually, I think he's the scum of the earth, and I wish I knew less of him. Actually, I do like Teo. Looking at that text. Ugh. Gag. Her up. I couldn't care less about Teo. I mean, I think I hate Teo more than I like Ren. A foreign emotion sparks within Ren's eyes before he closes them and rests his forehead against my own. Though his head soon drops into the crook of my neck instead, as his hands remain against the shelf behind me, effortlessly caging me in and preventing me from running away. This is fine. This I'm okay with. Right? There's something wrong with him. The The thought of you and Teo together, sorry, I need a second.
Ren?
He doesn't seem to respond. Instead, he simply stays rooted in place while his breath fans against my shoulder. Aww. I can almost hear the wooden shelf creak as his grip tightens, before he pulls back with a determined glint in his eyes. The thought of Teo makes Ren sick as well. As long as Teo didn't do anything to you, then...
And if he did?
I'd kill him.
Okay.
It was like the room got cold all of a sudden. There's an unsettling look on Ren's face, before it quickly morphs into his usual soft expression. Was I just imagining things? Just kidding. Something tells me he wasn't really joking around. Angel, are you okay?
Was that really Ren just now?
How do I respond? Cool, do it. Encourage his dark behavior. Do it. I'll help you hide the body.
You know what? Maybe you should've. I can't really stand people who do whatever they please for their own selfish reasons.
I glare at the floor as I recount how Teo had been treating me lately, like I was something expendable to throw away once he's had his fun. Besides, wasn't that what he essentially did? Once Eleanor came in, he didn't look twice before leaving with her. You'd be okay with that? With Teo dead?
Yes.
Really? You sure?
I'm sure.
Does this look like the face of someone who's not sure? He stares at me with wide eyes, and it almost makes me regret saying anything in the first place. I don't really know what just came over me, but still. Unless he actually wants to have a thing with Eleanor, and Eleanor, genuinely likes him, and he genuinely likes Eleanor. That's the only thing that's gonna save his life. Some decrepit and morbid part of me genuinely did believe that Teo would have been better off at the bottom of Lake Blue Moss. I never really let it get to me, but I've honestly had it up to here with people like him. Those hedonistic individuals who only care about themselves and never the well-being of those around them. Perhaps it was why I moved away from the city in the first place, to escape people like Teo. In some messed up way, at least it brought me closer to someone as understanding and considerate as Ren. Speaking of, I dare a glance towards my pink-haired companion, only to find him staring back at me with a soft smile. He leans in close this time, as if he wanted to whisper something, for only me to hear. Well, if I ever need to hide a body, I'll know who to call now.
No way you're getting me involved with your crimes.
No, but I think it's a genius idea. They'd never suspect the cute librarian. Now that the mood had lightened, I give Ren a playful shove and roll my eyes.
Well, now that that's all sorted, I think we should leave this dingy storage closet by now, don't you? I mean, we've been in here for a while. And Nori has our food.
I suppose we should leave, but I guess there's something sort of comforting about this closet. Or maybe it's just you.
Huh?
Being this close to you. I like it.
Where was this coming from? Suddenly, I can hear Ren's arm shift from beside me and move towards my face instead. His fingertips hover close to my cheek, and for a brief moment, I almost find myself wanting to lean into his touch to feel his warmth. But he pulls away at the very last second, and instead rests his hands by his side once more. Ren, at this point, shouldn't we already be smooching?
Ren? I don't want to be a hypocrite. He sends me yet another soft smile, before stepping back and awkwardly tugging on the end of his sleeve.
A hypocrite? What did he mean by that? Confused, I press him for answers. What do you mean?
I came in here thinking Teo was putting moves on you to get a rise out of me. If I'm being honest, part of me wants to think that he's still outside, waiting for us to leave. I want to... He covers his mouth with his hand, as he awkwardly shifts his weight from one foot to the other. Aww. Ren almost looks like he's weighing his options, and I can't tell if it's a winning or losing battle in his mind. All I can do is offer him a reassuring look to let him know he can speak more freely with me. I mean, we did just have a heart-to-heart about the appropriateness of murder a few minutes ago. I kind of want to make him jealous, too. That's a great idea. That's a phenomenal idea. Oh? I mean, I'm supposed to be paired up with you today, not him. He has no business trying to take you from me. Aww. Not like he could, anyway. His words remind me of the day at the pier when that pushy cashier kept trying to flirt with Ren. Oh yeah. I won't lie and say I hadn't been affected by it. Ooh, I was ready to fight back then. It's hard not to be when being with Ren had been the most exciting thing as of late, but I still had so many things I needed to discuss with him. What better place to start than here? A storage closet? In the aquarium? About that, remember our time by the boardwalk the other day? Our date by the pier? Yeah, and how that cashier tried to... Well, I'm not really sure what she was trying, but she seemed real cozy with you. Cozy? Did it come across that way? I thought I made my intentions with her clear. The confusion must have been written all over my face as Ren takes it upon himself to elaborate further. I may have threatened to push her down the staircase. I really wouldn't do it, though. What? You really tried to threaten her? Yes, but only because she tried to take me away from you. I'd never want to make you upset, or leave your side for that matter. We were having fun together, and she tried to come along and ruin it. Besides, whatever she had to show me downstairs probably wouldn't have been that interesting anyway. I let out a deep sigh and weigh Ren's words. Was he really telling me the truth? I swear, I'm not interested in her, Angel. In fact, I'm not really interested in anyone who isn't you. I guess I haven't been really forward enough with you, huh? In that case... I watch as Ren takes a tentative step towards me and reaches his arm out, but before I could feel the cool touch of his hand on my cheek, he seems to hesitate. But when I take my own step closer and lean my head into his hand, Ren's demeanor seems to melt instantly. He sends me a soft smile before fully committing to cupping my cheek. Believe me when I say, my only interest is you, Espoir. No one could possibly sway me from you. I'm yours, completely, all of me, and more. Aww. Ren's gaze is almost intense as he peers down at me. Sincerity manifests on his face and his words, and I find myself slowly believing it. You don't need to feel the same way right now, but so long as you believe me, that's all I ask. And... His gaze drops to his feet, and the hand that was once caressing my face now moves to cover his mouth instead. Perhaps it was a trick of the eye, but I could have sworn I saw Ren gently inhale. Maybe don't look at anyone else who isn't me, too. Done and done. What was that? Nothing, just wondering if Mr. Wasabi Hair is still outside the store. Wasabi Hair? Why don't you go check then, Buttercup? I'll wait here. No, I like being here with you instead. Ren takes yet another step closer. We're practically chest to chest at this point, until I could feel the warmth radiate from his body and bring me comfort. No one compares to you. I could bask in your company for as long as you let me. I'd never tire of you. Hey, you just wait until I start talking about the symbolism in Revolutionary Girl Utena. I think you'd start to get tired after a while. Or not. Oh. Was that too much? I figured I'd be more honest and open with you to avoid any more misunderstandings, but I can dial it back. Or not do it at all, if you prefer.
I don't mind, Ren. I wasn't expecting it, I guess. Normally you're more reserved. Almost like
Haruko, right? What a coincidence, huh?
Heh, I suppose. He is my favorite character for a reason, you know.
And is it winning me any points?
We'll see. I can feel Ren's breath ghost against the shell of my ear as he lets out a puff of laughter.
Can't believe I'm getting jealous over an anime character.
Hey now, unlike Haruko, you're real. I can touch you.
Ren's face seems to immediately flush at that.
Besides, imagine how Teo must be feeling right now. We've been in here for how long?
You know, I didn't think you'd be on board with making him jealous.
Really?
Yeah, but if you're still up for it.
There's a mischievous glint in Ren's eyes, making him look younger and more youthful than he normally appears. What harm could a little prank do? I did want to get back at Teo for making me go through with this in the first place, and admittedly, I was enjoying my time with Ren in the closet. I wouldn't have had this much-needed conversation otherwise, nor would I have gotten any clarity if I'd kept pondering over it endlessly. With a lopsided smile of my own, I came to a decision. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Stay with Ren a little longer. Hee 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 hee. I'm sure we could spend a few more minutes inside this closet. We could really sell it if you let me tussle your hair a bit.
Only if you turn your jacket inside out too. Though something tells me Teo would see right through it.
Yeah, I guess he'd be all too familiar with this sort of thing, huh? Hey, have you heard? Deciding that if we were going to spend a bit longer inside this closet, I might as well have fun with it. Without missing a beat, Ren leans closer to me and lowers his head so I can whisper into his ear. One time, Teo got caught fraternizing with the mayor's son at some club. Apparently he left with the wrong tie and belt.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was all over the news.
Wow, I must have missed it. I don't usually watch TV.
Oh, and what do you do?
I rent good books and chat up beautiful librarians, of course.
And do you normally chat them up in dark closets as well?
Only one.
So far?
So far. I'm hoping it'll stay that way.
The smile Ren sends me somehow makes the closet feel so much brighter. Aww. As soon as Ren and I exit the storeroom, the first thing we notice is that Teo, Eleanor, and our food were nowhere in sight. Well, I guess the resident arsonist really got what he wanted after all, and for some reason, Ren seems just as bummed about the situation too. Ah, it's alright.
They really just left?
I guess so, which kinda sucks because Teo was my ride home.
Oh, I can drop you off if you want. Or we can go to my place. It's not far, and we have some time to kill.
All of a sudden, the chilling thought of a potential stalker lurking about returns, and I will the unsettling feeling in my stomach to calm down. Perhaps going home wouldn't be the best idea right now, especially if someone might still be there waiting for me. Ren's innocent offer lingers in my mind, and I find myself feeling more and more inclined to take him up on it as seconds pass. I mean, I definitely would feel much better if I had someone else around in the off chance that something were to happen. Plus, Ren did once offer to let me stay at his place if something ever went wrong. And some part of me felt almost safe in his presence. I mean, he is massively tall. Still, I didn't want to concern him with my troubles, let alone potentially put his well-being at risk. I also didn't want anything to happen to Kiara by revealing too much to Ren, so maybe it would be best to keep quiet about my problem and accept his offer. And if I changed my mind, I'm sure Ren would be kind enough to bring me home. So, with a forced smile, I peer up at Ren with a determined look and give my answer. Sounds good to me. The walk to the parking lot was slow and uneventful, but I didn't seem to mind. I was having fun with Ren as we playfully nudged each other along the sidewalk, and the banter we shared helped brighten my mood. Eventually, though, things started to wind down, and I found myself trying to fill the silence. "So, Teo and Eleanor, huh? I think they would make a cute couple." Somehow the conversation keeps falling back to the pair, and I just couldn't understand why. It wasn't like I was actually trying to think about them, though maybe I just needed to rack my brain around it for the thought to leave my mind. A sideward glance in Ren's direction shows that he genuinely was considering my question, if the pursed lip and head tilt were anything to go by, and I couldn't help but chuckle. It sure is a weird combo now that I think about it, but what if it works? That's true, I suppose. It's just hard to imagine Nori with someone like Teo. Do you think it's impossible, being with someone who's not your type? What do you mean by this, Ren? I guess it depends on the person. I see. What about you, Ren? Think you could be with someone who might not be your type? No, absolutely not. His response is immediate, and it has me turning my head in my pink-haired companion's direction. I mean, you're my type. Why would I want to be with someone who isn't you? Oh, but this isn't about me, right? You asked about Eleanor and Teo. Yeah. Well, do you think they should be a couple? I choose to ignore the way Ren evades my initial question, but I won't lie, his own musings does leave me pondering. Did I think my friend and co-worker would be a good couple? Hypothetically, of course, I was well aware of the fact that the Theodore Alvarado trash can would never settle down with anyone. But still, if anyone would be able to get Teo to change his ways, I'm sure Eleanor could do it. She just has a certain charm about her that makes everyone want to be a better person. I had no doubt that even people like Teo wouldn't be immune to it. Yeah, I think they would be cute together. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Ren, why do I have the feeling that you would have said that no matter what I said? Maybe then it'd stop them from looking at you with hearts in their eyes. What was that? Oh, I said, doesn't Eleanor look like she has hearts in her eyes? You know, for Teo. You better leave sweet Eleanor alone, Ren. Looking deeply into Nori's eyes, are we? No, I would never. Why would I even... I'm just teasing you, Ren. Oh. Soon enough, our conversation comes to a halt when a sleek black sports bike comes into view. So, Ren brought his bike again, huh? Part of me still expected someone like him to just walk everywhere, if I was being honest. If I had known I'd be bringing you home, I would have brought my car instead. But I recently loaned it to a friend, actually. Oh, really? You have friends? Yeah, he's out of town, though. I doubt I'll be getting it back anytime soon. Anyway... Ren retrieves a spare helmet from the side of his motorbike and turns to me once more. Why, you got a spare helmet? I mean, is that a normal thing for bikers to carry? All too familiar with this routine, I let him slip the helmet on and secure it tightly. I still wasn't used to riding his bike, but I put the fear aside from the prospect of more free food and a warm home. Somehow we managed to make it to Ren's apartment complex in record time. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said it wasn't that far. And unlike Teo, Ren lawfully parks his bike in the designated area before guiding me towards the elevator with a spring in his step. Techie music plays as we slowly ascend to the upper levels, though Ren only makes it even more awkward by staring at the back of my head the entire time. I can practically feel his eyes on me, even as I try to ignore them, so I offer him a forced grin while we both wait for the elevator doors to open. Once they do, I let out a sigh of relief. The same gaudy interior greets us, and I still find myself trying to process how Ren could afford such a lavish place. Too lost in thought,
I aimlessly follow behind my pink-haired companion as he leads me towards his door, before bumping into his backside when he abruptly stops in his tracks. Concerned at his odd and sudden reaction, I glance up, only to find him staring intently at the floor. Following Ren's gaze, I notice the lights coming from beneath the cracks of one of the doors, and weirdly enough, the faintest hint of black smoke seems to be emerging from there as well. Smoke? Did they burn their food or something? Confused, I look to Ren to see if he has any better ideas. Is there something wrong? Oh, no, I didn't realize someone had moved in. I thought I was the only one who lived on this floor. Not a fan of sharing, are we? Not particularly. Still, I guess everything should be fine as long as I don't... Never mind. Before I can question it, Ren continues walking until we arrive at our destination. Watching him dig through his pockets for his keycard only reminds me to check my phone, but when I reach for it, I notice that my own pockets are empty. A wave of realization hits me as the panic slowly starts to creep in. Oh, shoot. In my flustered state, I barely notice Ren turning to me with a curious look on his face. I think I left my phone back at the aquarium. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I placed it on the shelf when Teo pulled me into that closet earlier. Ren seems to bristle at that.
Hey, don't worry. I'll go back and get it. The aquarium should still be open anyway.
I'm so sorry about this.
So does that mean we're going to be left alone in Ren's house?
Ren unlocks the door and gestures for me to go inside.
Don't worry about it, Espoir. Here, make yourself at home. I'll be back before you know it.
Ren doesn't give me a chance to say goodbye before he's speeding off towards the direction of the elevator, leaving me to my own devices. I awkwardly step inside his apartment and take everything in. Everything looks the same as the last time I was here, down to the cold marble flooring and gaudy furniture scattered about the place. And although I didn't notice it last time, the mirror in his entryway looked very similar to mine. The only difference was that his was hung up correctly. Cute. Well, at least now I know what mine will look like once I put in the effort to fix it. But until then, it's going to stay crookedly placed on my wall and forever taunt me. Saving that mental note for later, I recall my steps towards Ren's spacious lounge and take everything in. Yep, still the same grandiose furniture, sterile smell, and... Wait a second. Oh? Looking closer, it's then when I notice a large desk pressed against one of the corners in the room, tucked and hidden away from view. It didn't look brand new, though I don't recall looking in that spot the last time I was here either. The desk could have been here since the beginning for all I know. I can't help the twang of curiosity that hits me as I draw closer towards it, and with the desk now close enough to see, I can easily make out the shape of some kind of art station, as well as Ren's laptop still open to the side. Papers were scattered all over the rest of the table, and another tentative step closer brings its contents into view. Were they rough drafts for a webcomic? Aww! I had an inkling Ren would be into them, given his interest in AOG, but I had no idea he created a few of his own. One book in particular, however, piques my interest with its unique cover, though it might have just been the book cover to me. One book in particular, however, piques my interest with its unique cover, though it might have just been the book lover in me. It was thick and worn out, yet it looked like it was well taken care of. I noticed some kind of smudge marks, possibly red paint, stain the front of the cover, as well as some sort of circular, indented notch right in the center. Does something go inside here? The contraption is foreign to me, and whatever fits inside must have been how you unlock it. But as I turned the book in my hand, I noticed that the latch was already detached, and a few loose pages spill out onto the desk.
Ack!
With a panicked cry, I quickly scoop the papers back up and open the books to stuff them back inside. But as I do so, something else catches my eye. Weren't these sketches from Always With You? I could easily make out the male lead's hairstyle anywhere. After all, it was similar to Ren's, or rather, Haruko's. Yet this one had a contrasting shade of black instead of pink. Maybe another character then. Strange. I don't remember seeing any similar black-haired characters in the webcomic. Still, the likeness of the art style was insane, and Always With You was the only webcomic published by the anonymous author. Their debut into the online industry was a huge success because of it. So, fan art? It was oddly cute to think that Ren might have made his own self-insert character, though if I were any better at art, I probably would have done the same. Curiosity once again gets the better of me. Or was it my hyperfixations? And I was half tempted to peek through the rest of the book to learn more. Should I? Sure. As much as I would like to let Ren have his privacy. Let's look at the drawings. I can't resist the urge to flip through the pages, and when I do, my suspicions are confirmed. There, right in front of my eyes, were the all too familiar characters from Always With You, yet something about them felt almost uncanny. They didn't look exactly like the actual characters from the webcomic, though I could sense a certain familiarity from them. And upon closer inspection, most of the drawings were of the main character and her love interest doing various lovey-dovey things together, though other drawings were depicted as rather ominous and gloomy. Which was ironic, considering that the male lead was usually referred to as gloomy by the narrator. He was often withdrawn and greatly preferred to lurk in the shadows instead of interacting with others, so the name really fit. But still, seeing my beloved Gloomy in some of these drawings, surrounded by hundreds of creepy eyes, harsh scribbles, and more of that deep red ink, it honestly made me feel bad for him. Now I know Ren is hiding something, and I'm wondering if this Gloomy character is someone that he relates to more than Haruko. Why was he often being drawn in a dark room with nothing in it, almost like an endless void with no exit in sight? Figuring I'd seen enough, or perhaps I just didn't want to see one of my comfort characters so alone, I tear my eyes away from the pages and close the book. When I do, I make sure to shut the latch properly and place it back on the table. But as I do so, I accidentally knock over one of the ink bottles, which stains the desk a deep shade of black. Dang it, my stealth is in the negatives! Crap. I frantically skitter about to look for some paper towels, and eventually settle on some toilet paper from Ren's bathroom. By some miracle, it easily lifts the mark from the desk, though it only seems to transfer onto my skin instead. Great. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse. It takes a solid minute or two of scrubbing until I'm satisfied, and once I'm sure no stains are left on the table, I haphazardly throw the toilet paper into the trash can and wash my hands in the kitchen sink. That alone takes another 5 minutes of scrubbing and rinsing, but I somehow manage to lift all the ink from my skin and wash it down the drain. There's gotta be an easier way, like some kind of substance you can use to clean ink. After all this, I definitely learnt my lesson not to snoop ever again. With an embarrassed sigh, I plop myself on the couch and let out a groan. A small part of me knew Ren wouldn't get upset over something so small, but still, I didn't want him to know that I was snooping through his things, much less trying to learn more about his personal hobbies and interests. The queasy feeling in the pit of my stomach only seems to worsen at that, and I contemplate running away from such a confronting scene and locking myself at home for the rest of my life. Forget my phone. I could always buy a new one. I'm sure I still had my spare one still lying around in a box collecting dust somewhere. Sure, the screen was cracked, but it'd still get the job done. Still, I couldn't help but feel like I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and there was the looming threat of a potential stalker waiting for me to come home. Maybe it was for the best if I stayed here after all. With that thought in mind, I settled further into Ren's plush couch and anxiously await his return.
I wasn't snooping, I swear.
I can hear the faint ticking of a clock from somewhere in this endless maze of an apartment, alongside the occasional humming of the central heater he turned on before he left. So he finally figured out how it works. Aside from that, the silence is almost deafening, and I have half a mind to reach for the remote and turn on the television. Surely it wouldn't hurt. I mean, Ren did say I could make myself at home. You know, potential snooping aside. Perhaps it was to get rid of the guilty feeling forming in my stomach, but I quickly find myself shaking my head to dismiss those thoughts and reaching for the remote on the table. Flicking through the channels, I land on one in particular, and although the signal was weak, I could discern the picture of some news reporter in a blazer that looked far too flimsy to keep her warm. She's droning on about the local happenings in Corland Bay before a familiar backdrop comes on screen and captures my full attention. Oh? The entrance to the aquarium appears on the television, as ambulance lights flash and sirens go off in the background. There's a somber expression on the reporter's face as she communicates with her counterpart who is currently at the location.
Victim's body was found mauled and ripped apart in one of the shark tanks.
Well, I mean, if you're going to kill someone at the aquarium, that's the best way to do it, I guess.
Authorities have confirmed that it is the body of Christian Doe's son and sole heir to the corporate giant Tech Marketing. Also believe that was a self-inflicted accident. Here on the scene with us, we have the mayor's chairman and the mother of the victim, Kaori to talk about.
The TV turns to static, and I quickly reach for the remote to find another channel. Another news show pops up, this time showing a grainy black and white recording of CCTV footage taken from the aquarium. And though it's hard to make out, the footage depicts a person pacing around on the wooden decks until the upper half of their body is just out of frame. The rest of their body was still in view, though, being illuminated by their phone screen as they fiddled with it. Then, all of a sudden, the person immediately drops it, almost as if it was too hot to touch, and takes a step back. They must have lost their footing or something, as they end up tumbling into the tank and submerging themselves underwater. The footage cuts out shortly after, seemingly too inappropriate to air on live television, as noted by the reporter.
Espoir in the game, the bells aren't ringing in your head?
I let out a breath I hadn't known I'd been holding, and let reality sink in. I was just at that aquarium. I looked at those sharks with everyone just hours prior. Everything felt all too surreal in this moment, and I suddenly wished I had my phone to text Eleanor and Teo to see if they saw the news.
Also pretty convenient that I don't have my phone right now, too.
With my heartbeat still hammering loudly in my chest, I ended up unconsciously turning the television off to avoid hearing about more heavy topics. Seeing all of this recent talk of gore and murder on TV, it makes me feel...
I enjoy seeing it, or I feel sick just hearing about it. I'm kind of sick. I feel kind of sick just hearing about it. I mean, if it's what I think it is, then, oh, how terrible, but I feel kind of sick just hearing about it.
Thinking about all this gory violence and death, it makes me feel uneasy. In fact, it was one of the reasons why I left the city in the first place. Prior to moving to Corland Bay, I'd always been surrounded by petty crimes, selfish losers who called themselves my friends, and even the stench of death. Moving here had been a good decision at the start, but now, I'm not so sure. Everyone would always say that nothing bad ever happens in the Bay, but after recent events, it was slowly becoming untrue. But I suppose it wasn't all bad. I have supportive friends now, an amazing boss and coworker, and a timid library patron who goes to great lengths to keep me safe. Man, I guess I never truly appreciated Ren's thoughtfulness until this moment. He's done so much for me these past few days, and not once has he asked for anything in return. And as if manifesting him with my thoughts, I hear the telltale signs of the front door unlocking before Ren shuffles inside and flicks on all the lights. Hey. In one of his hands is my beloved phone, alongside a bag of delicious-smelling takeout and an angelfish plushie peeking out from another. Aww, that's so sweet. Gosh dang it. Also, if anyone tried to send me a message, Ren would have access to my phone for him to delete it. But he bought me an angelfish plushie. And almost like a puppy, Ren immediately makes his way over to me, still perched on the couch, before depositing the toy in my hands. Espoir, were you sitting in here without any lights? Sorry, I should have turned them on before I left. But, I brought some food with me. I figured you might be hungry. I don't really have much food in the pantry right now. Also, well, Ren looks as though he has something deeply serious he wants to say, and I had some kind of inclination as to what it might be. Something happened at the aquarium, Espoir. You might want to... Actually, maybe we should move this conversation to the kitchen. I already know, Ren. You do? About... Yeah, I saw it on the news. So it's true then. Someone really did die. I didn't really stick around to find out once the first cop car pulled up, but I don't know. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Ren looks conflicted with what he wants to say. I passed by that shark tank when I went to retrieve your phone, and I didn't exactly stop to look, but I didn't see any dead bodies in there. Look, I know we said some incriminating things today, but I swear, I wasn't serious, and Angel, I would never, I'm still half expecting for Ren to throw me for a double loop, and he's not the yandere who's doing the shenanigans at all. I could tell that Ren was taking this hard, with how he wouldn't meet my gaze and his shoulders seemed to shake. I wasn't the one who killed them. It's okay, I believe you. You do? It was like a weight was taken off of his shoulders, and without thinking, I find myself stepping closer to bring Ren into a comforting hug. I know you, Ren. You'd never hurt a fly. And I saw what happened on TV. They fell into that tank. The reporters say it was a self-inflicted accident. Man, you really are an angel. I can feel his hands clench around the back of my shirt before he pulls away with a forlorn expression. He attempts to put a smile on for my sake, though I could see right through it. Here, why don't you eat something to get our minds off this? Are you feeling up to it? I know this might be a lot for you to stomach right now. Yeah, some food might be nice. Great, let me get some plates so we can eat them. Aww. As Ren lifts himself from the back of the sofa, he makes sure to hand my cell phone back to me as well, before heading off towards the kitchen. Now reunited with my beloved phone once more, I unlock it and check for any notifications. One update in particular lets me know that the security camera I ordered had been successfully delivered, and that alone makes me feel safe enough to return to my apartment. Should I change my mind about staying here? With a satisfied hum, I quickly pocket my phone, lest I lose it again, and follow Ren into the kitchen. I watch as he turns on all the lights in there as well, before he places the takeout on the countertop, and stops to sniff the air. Uh-oh. What's that smell? Oh crap, I almost forgot about the ink I hastily threw away in the trash. In retrospect, I probably should have flushed it down the toilet or something instead. Oh, about that, I snooped. I will be honest, I will snoop. Honestly, I snooped. I figured it's best if I simply come clean. After all, Ren didn't deserve to be lied to, much less have a guest be trusted snoop through his belongings while he was away. Man, if only I could say the same thing about my stalker. Before I can dwell on it any further, Ren's worried look pulls me from my thoughts and back to the present. Well, here goes nothing. I accidentally spilled some of your ink earlier.
You... what?
Food now long forgotten. I didn't forget. Ren rounds the corner within seconds and peers down at me with soft eyes.
Are you okay? It didn't stain you, did it? Let me see.
Aww. He was still concerned about me? I watch as Ren reveals more of his hands from within the sleeves of his cardigan to hold and inspect my own. His blue eyes are full of concern as I feel the rough pads of his thumbs caress my skin. Once again, I'm reminded of the ring on his finger, and I can't help but ask, "That ring, it must be special to you, huh?"
My ring?
Ren follows my gaze to his hand, before awkwardly pulling away and scratching at his jaw.
Yes, it's a ring I made when I was younger. I'm surprised you noticed it. This ring, it means a lot to me. I don't know what I'd do if I lost it.
It's very pretty. What about the one around your neck?
That's...
Ren clams up the moment I meekly reach out to touch it. He stares down at me with wide, cautious eyes. His own fingers wrap around my wrist, though he makes no effort to remove my hand from his necklace. In fact, he only seems to hold them in place as he peers at me. Feigning confidence, I run my fingers across the cold metal of his ring and take in all the small details. Much like the ring on Ren's finger, the one around his neck also had a handmade feel to it, if the faint scratches and chips were anything to go by, though the craftsmanship was no less impressive. There also seems to be some kind of inscription inside the ring, but it was difficult for me to read due to the glare coming from the kitchen light. Part of me wants to pull it closer to get a better view, though I doubt it would be a good idea to yank Ren down by his necklace, especially considering how he was already hunching over enough as it is.
Yeah, he's a tall boy.
Still, I couldn't stop my budding curiosity from putting one of my fingers inside the ring to see if it fit. And almost immediately, Ren stumbles forward as his fingers gently squeeze my wrists.
Do you want to try it on?
Before Ren can speak, a loud booming sound erupts from outside the apartment and startles the both of us. Man, was it seriously about to start raining again? You're joking. With a sigh, I abruptly pull away and glance out one of the large ceiling-to-floor windows. Dark clouds were rolling in from the distance, though there weren't any telltale signs of rain, yet. Though the ominous black smoke was new, I didn't know the condensation got this bad. We weren't even that high up for fog to appear, unless it's not fog. Was this some kind of sign? Still, it wouldn't do to be stuck waiting out yet another storm again, so I glance in Ren's direction and offer a sympathetic smile. Maybe I should head home before it starts raining.
Go home or stay the night?
I kinda want to stay the night. Yeah, let's stay the night with Ren. It's probably best for me to just wait out this storm somewhere safe. If Ren was willing, I wouldn't mind spending the night here. Actually, would it be okay if I crash at your place tonight? His gaze was still on the black smoke outside the window, and it took a gentle nudge and the mention of his name to get Ren's attention once more.
Why is it? I haven't done any. Yes, of course. It's no problem. I'll go get your stuff set up right now. Here, go ahead and start eating while I go prepare your room.
Thanks, Ren. It's great that I can rely on you for anything.
Ren? What do you mean you didn't... Ren? Yeah, of course. You can rely on me to keep you safe.
His cheeks immediately flush at my words, but I could tell that something was still troubling him. Though before I get the chance to ask, he's already leaving the kitchen and meandering down the hallway. Ren! But just as Ren passes by the couch, I notice how his gaze shifts to his little art station, hidden in the corner of the lounge room. He casts a curious glance in my direction before taking a step towards it. Was that where you spilled the ink? Sorry, I didn't mean to. And it wasn't like I was going through your stuff. I only looked at the table, I promise. I see. So that explains why it's... Narrows eyes at Ren. With an unreadable expression, Ren switches from looking impassive to determined in a matter of seconds. He reaches for something on the table, though it was hard to see what it was from where I was sitting in the kitchen. You keep on eating. I'll join you shortly. And with that, he disappears into the darkness of his apartment. Deciding there's no use in overthinking his eccentric reactions, or dwelling over the fact that I got caught red-handed for being nosy, I pick up a fork and begin to dig into my food. The taste of something both sweet and savory floods my taste buds, and I let out a pleased hum. Man, was takeout always this good? It only takes 3 more modest bites before I practically scarfed down my meal. The flavor was immaculate, and I made a mental note to ask Ren what exactly he ordered the moment he returns. But now that I think about it, it's been a while since he left, and Ren still hasn't come back yet. It surely had been more than 20 minutes by now, and his food was starting to get cold. Was he really mad after all? Or maybe he needed help. Whether or not it was the guilt still ebbing and flowing inside of me, I put my food aside to try to locate the eccentric guy in his stupidly large apartment. But as I tiptoe down the hallway, the very same black smoke from earlier rolls down from underneath one of the doors, making my mind grow fuzzy and my legs feel like jelly. What the... Confused and slightly dazed, I lean against the wall for support and weakly call out Ren's name. What was happening to me? A lurching feeling settles within the pit of my stomach, and just before I topple over, strong, scarred arms reach out and catch me. Ren! Sweetie, you know it's really hard for me to read binary. Error? Critical? Error? Unknown? Ren, you know I hate looking up binary. Ren? What did I say about these shenanigans? There we go. Don't worry, Espoir. I won't let you get my bad ending. Bad ending? I wanted to stay with you. So don't hide from me. Why are you hiding from me? I won't hurt you, so don't be scared. How is this a bad ending? I thought everything was working out. Don't you realize that we're meant to be together? I love you, Espoir. I love you so much. I was prepared for it. Haha! That's the 3rd time you've done that to me. What? What do you mean bad ending? What do you want from me, Ren? Do you not... Oh, is it because I snooped? Was I getting too close to something? Well, fine. Why don't I go home then? How about that? Yeah, it's probably best for me to go home before the storm gets any worse. I still had to go back to work tomorrow anyway. Thanks for today, but I should probably start heading back now. Oh, it's really no problem. Here, why don't I put your food in another bag and drop you off? Are you sure? I don't want to be a bother. You'd never be a bother to me. Tapping the table, Ren pushes himself up and sets off to find something to put my takeout in. What did I do to deserve someone as kind as Ren? With a smile of my own, I get up from the stool and slowly make my way towards the entrance once more, but not before throwing Ren one final compliment. It's great that I can rely on you for anything.
I mean, of course.
The ride back to my place was nothing short of ominous. The looming clouds on the horizon made the scenery seem dark and eerie, but thankfully Ren and his pastel-colored hair were there to brighten things up. He even offered to walk me to my door, and what greeted the both of us was a single package on top of my doormat. Panic flashes through me at the thought of it being another gift from my supposed stalker, but then I remembered the purchase I made this morning and the notification I received on my phone. That must be my security cameras. Deftly picking it up, I put it under an arm as I fished for my keys in one of my pockets. I can sense Ren's eyes on me, or rather, my package, but even as I glance in his direction, I can tell that he's trying to hold himself back from asking. Surely there wouldn't be any harm in telling him. Oh, I bought a security system this morning, because of how shady this neighborhood is. I figured it'd be a good idea to be safer than sorry.
That creep didn't come back, did they?
Without thinking, I drop my keys and slap a hand over Ren's mouth before cautiously looking over my shoulder. What was I doing? I was getting worked up and acting paranoid again. With an embarrassed look, I turned back to apologize to Ren, only to find his cheeks a deep red and a hand wrapped around my wrist. When did he... Quickly withdrawing my hand, I squeak out an apology before picking up my keys and turning back to my door. I still didn't want to get Ren involved with my problems, but I honestly didn't want to risk being alone tonight either. Too lost in my own world, I barely noticed Ren coming closer, nor his hand covering my keys to steady my fidgeting. Aww.
Do you want some help?
He must have seen the look of confusion on my face since he continues talking.
Setting up your cameras, I mean. Self-taught programmer, remember?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure I can figure it all out. Plus, it'd save you on having to call someone to install them.
He did have a point, and I'd honestly feel safer if I weren't alone tonight. Still, I'd been spending so much time with Ren lately, and I didn't want him to get fed up with me in my presence. Would it be a good idea? Accept and let him stay the night. Maybe it would be a good idea after all. Would you mind? I probably look pathetic with how I barely make any eye contact, instead choosing to stare at my door rather than Ren. But he doesn't seem to mind, or perhaps he simply chooses not to comment on it.
I'd be happy to, Angel.
With a smile, I open the door and let Ren inside.
You know, I think we have the same mirror.
Oh? Putting the small talk aside for a moment, I usher the pink-haired person into my living room and situate ourselves on the couch. Ren wastes no time in opening my package, placing all the bits and pieces on the table and setting off to work, though every so often he'd sneak a peek in my direction whenever he thinks I'm not looking. Did he want something? Raising a brow, I send him a silent question.
I didn't mean to pry into your personal life, but, you know, you're always welcome to stay at my apartment.
Ren, I've seen where you live. I doubt I could afford rent.
You could stay for free. I don't mind at all. And, I'm more than capable of covering your cost. I'd make a really good roommate, too. I always clean up after myself, and I wouldn't mind doing the same for you as well. Only if you'd be fine with it, though. And I can cook as well. Laundry, cleaning, repairing things around the house, and yard work. I can do it all for you, really.
Wait, you have a yard? Man, they can really fit a lot into these upscale apartments, huh?
Well, no, I don't. But I used to do the gardening and use the lawnmower a lot when I was younger. I'm sure I can figure it out all again.
Not that I need to, though. Like you said, no yard.
No offense, Ren, but I can't imagine someone like you mowing grass. Was that your first job as a teen?
Before that, actually.
Huh? Before that? You mean as a child?
Maybe a bit younger?
Younger?
I mean, just kidding. Yeah, it was my first job as a teenager. Anyway, the point is, I'd be happy to let you stay at my place.
Oh. Well, I really appreciate the offer, Ren, but I gotta tough this one out on my own.
Oh, if you say so.
He goes quiet after that. Picking up the manual, Ren tries to busy himself with learning how to connect the cameras to my Wi-Fi before tossing it aside and doing it his own way. Deciding not to get in the way, I curl up on the couch with my food and simply observe him. I won't lie, watching Ren's hands deftly connect cables and unscrew plates was kind of attractive, but I wasn't about to say anything. And soon enough, the events of the evening slowly draw out as I start to feel the telltale signs of weariness take a hold of me. I try my best to muffle my yawn before I glance up at the clock on my wall to read the time. Just past midnight. Dang, I hadn't realized we'd been at this for so long.
Tired?
Ren's voice startles me, and I glance back to see that he had already put down the cameras and was reclining in his seat to fully look at me. Kinda. It's been a long day.
You can head to bed if you want. I'll set this all up and lock up once I'm done.
You're still going to go home after this?
You want me to stay?
Did I? Strange. Did I? Strange. Perhaps it was because we'd been spending so much time together, but I'd somehow grown fond of Ren's presence. It was comforting to have him near, though I wasn't about to tell that to him. So, with an affirmative nod, I make the decision. Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Ren's grin practically reached his ears as he laughs to himself.
Okay. Sure. No problem.
Aww. I can't help but playfully roll my eyes at his enthusiasm. Well then, why don't I get some pillows and blankets, and we can camp out here for the night?
Just like a sleepover?
Sure. His toothy grin reminds me of my childhood days, back when I'd beg all the adults to let some of my friends from school stay the night. With all of us wrapped up in patterned blankets, I'd cuddle up on the couch with everyone until we'd all fall asleep. But it wasn't Leon who came to mind. It was someone else. Their face was blurry, but I could make out tufts of black hair from within the blankets surrounding us, and the same toothy grin Ren was giving me. But when I focus my attention back on him, I notice that the smile is gone, and he's instead looking at me with a confused look on his face. I must have been spacing out again. Sorry, I'll go get those pillows now.
Let me know if you need any help.
Ren's response gets drowned out as I flee into the hallway. It took a while, but Ren managed to set the cameras up and hook it all up to an app on my phone, all while I made myself comfortable on the couch. He explained how to use it, but if I was being honest, I started to nod off once he started geeking out about the different kinds of alarm buttons. Before I know it, my head falls onto his shoulder with a soft thump, and I feel Ren's body shake as he lets out a faint laugh. Something moves from the chair next to him, before a warm duvet is wrapped around my shoulders. I can feel Ren pull me to his side before we both fall backwards onto the couch. His chest softens the blow, and with one of his hands gently tracing over the back of my neck, I slowly start to drift off. Nostalgia greets me once more, and before my consciousness fades away, I try to chase after the foggy memory that had been plaguing my brain as of late. Those 3 kids laughing and playing together near a lake. Who were they? And who was the one that stayed right by my side even after everyone else went home?
Almost desperately, I try and recall their face, or any of their defining features, really. At this point, I'd take anything. But it's all for naught when I feel Ren's lips fall to the crown of my head to place a chaste kiss. Sleep well, Espoir. With his comforting voice in my mind, I slowly start to slip away. Aww. End of the demo. Thanks for playing. Have you tried getting all the different endings yet? So there's a few choices that I can go back and try. But honestly, I'm a little bit tired. I think I've been recording for 3 hours. You should not sit in front of a computer for 3 hours straight without stretching your legs. So I'm going to end this video here, and I want to try and record maybe what happens if you choose some of the other outcomes. If you would like to not miss that, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And also, we're trying to make it to 100,000 subscribers, so I would greatly appreciate it. And I would really love to hear your theories in the comments, because I have a theory, and I don't want to say what it is, but if it is what I think it is, I like it very much. But please put your theories in the comments if you're comfortable doing that. For right now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.